Ica is making personalized phone cases where the profit on the cases she sells is determined by the relation y equals -2x squared plus 120x minus 1,000, where x is the number of cases sold and y is the profit in dollars. What are the break-even points for Ica? What is the maximum profit she can earn? Now, before we start looking at this question and worrying about how much money she's going to make, whether she's going to make cases for Android phones or just iPhones, let's take a look at this relationship on this equation. So the equation is y equals -2x squared plus 120x minus 1,000. This is a quadratic equation written in standard form. We will hear it sometimes referred to as ax squared plus bx plus c. Since we know this graph is going to make a parabola, each part of the equation gives the parabola its form and location. So this -2 means that it will be a downward-facing parabola, and the 2 indicates the width of the parabola. This 120 impacts the location of the vertex with respect to the y-axis, and this -1,000 controls the vertical shift of the parabola. It is also the location where the parabola will cross the y-axis. All right, with that, let's take a look at the questions. So for the first question, we're asked, what are the break-even points for Ica? So if we're to envision this parabola, we need to think about the x and y-axis. We know that x represents the number of cases sold and y, the amount of profits made. So the break-even points for when Ica will make money. We've got to think about this in the context. She's got to buy her supplies to personalize those phone cases, so she's got to make enough money to cover her costs. If we think about it in terms of the graph, when will the parabola cross the x-axis? Because if profits, or the y, is equal to 0, then she sure isn't making any money. This means we need to find the x-intercepts, the 2 points where the parabola crosses the x-axis. These x-intercepts will tell us about the number of phone cases that she sells and the impact that has on her making a profit. In other videos, we've talked about ways to find the x-intercepts in factored or vertex form. However, in this case, we're working with standard form of ax squared plus bx plus c. You can use the quadratic equation to find the x-intercepts. The quadratic equation is x equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all of which is divided by 2a. There's a video on Blackboard which goes through far more information about the quadratic equation if you're interested or need some more support. Be sure to check that out. Here you'll see the image of the quadratic formula where we have substituted in -2 for the A, 120 for the B, and -1,000 for the C. Then we've just followed the steps of order of operation until here, where x is equal to -120 plus or minus 80, all of which is divided by -4. That plus or minus is there because we have 2 x-intercepts. So let's solve for each of them. -120 plus 80 divided by -4 is -40. Divided by -4 is 10. This means that one of the x-intercepts is 10. Now we'll solve for the other. -120 minus 80 divided by -4 is -200 divided by -4, which is 50. This means that the second x-intercept is 50. This means that Ica's break-even points are 10 and 50. So she has to sell more than 10 cases to make some profit, but she won't make any profit if she sells more than 50. So she has to sell at least 10 to earn enough money to pay for her supplies, but if she sells more than 50, it's going to be too expensive for her to make the phone cases to earn any profits. Now we address the maximum profit Ica can make. If we go back to picturing our parabola, we know that the highest profits will be at the top of the curve. This is, of course, the vertex. Of the x and y coordinates of the vertex, the y tells us the most profit she could make, with the x telling us how many cases she would need to sell to make that profit. Remember that all parabolas have a line of symmetry, and that line runs directly through the vertex and is the value of x. It is referred to with the variable h. So we can use this formula that gives us the line of symmetry, which will also give us information about the x value of the vertex. That formula is negative b divided by 2a. Let's substitute in our values. Negative 120 divided by 2 times negative 2. That's negative 120 divided by negative 4, which is 30. So that means that the x value is 30, meaning the most profit Ika can make is if she sells 30 phone cases. With this information, we can figure out the profits she'll make selling 30 phone cases. We just need to substitute the x value of 30 into our equation. So y equals negative 2 times 30 squared plus 120 times 30 minus 1,000. Then we solve following the order of operations. And we find that y is equal to 800. So this means that the most profit Ika can make is $800, and she'll reach that profit if she sells 30 phone cases.